Rar Happy New Year and 1 year less than 3.
If sleep is for the weak, you know where I'll be. Tangled in my head, replaying memories. Close my eyes and pray, some kind of clarity. A dream in black and white, it's all that I see. I can feel it in my bones when I see your face. It's the cruelest kind of dream, driving me insane. If sleep is for the weak, you know I'll be.
I'm muted. Okay, sorry. Hi guys. Hi. I remembered I was muted because I was recording YouTube content like over the weekend. Um so we should be good now. I had like my mic muted because I was just doing basic gameplay stuff and I'm gonna add commentary later. We'll get to that later. Hi guys. Hi. I have missed your faces. I'm not dying anymore. I am not dying anymore. Okay, well, go lay down. Go lay down. Everyone knows you're here. I promise you, they know you're here. They know you're here. So go lay down. Go. Okay, let me say hi to everybody because I miss your fucking faces. Like I miss you all. Firebolt, welcome in. Dragon Destroyer, one whole freaking year. Ace. Ace, no. Okay. Okay. I got this. I got this. Dragon Destroyer, thank you for the 1 year. My God, 1 freaking year. I appreciate you so much. So much. What is happening? What is going on? MJ, ma'am? Oh, I need to move that.
Hey,
Oh,
hot stuff.
I changed a lot of stuff, guys. I changed like a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of stuff to tell you guys about. Ace, welcome in. How are you? I love your face. River, I love you. I hope you're doing good. A-Lig redeeming first. I appreciate you. Seth, welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, I fixed me being muted. Hey, Dragon Destroyer, how are you? Demon Queen, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and the fam. MJ, 11 months. 11 months, MJ. Excuse? Hello? Hello? Guys, I love y'all. I love y'all. I really do. I missed y'all. I'm not dying anymore. I'm not dying. I'm not coughing as much anymore. I love you so much, Anna. Ace, I love you. I absolutely love you. Mwah. I adore you. Dutchie, welcome in. Hi. Yay for not dying. I know. It's been rough. Like the last 3 weeks has been so rough for like just my household in general. So like y'all know I pulled my hamstrings. So I like walking was tough for a little bit, for like a week. And then Ryan got the flu. So he got sick. And then I got sick and I was hacking up my lungs and it was like I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. And now he has that. He is hacking up his lungs. So like it's just been a rough, like honestly month health-wise. We've been struggling so freaking bad. But I'm finally better for the most part. I've been testing my voice every day, productively, actually, and recording YouTube content, and seeing like, can I make it through an extended period of time talking so I can come back to you guys all ready to go. So yeah, I'm finally not dying. I'll still cough every now and then like that, but, for the most part, I'm good. But I added a bunch of stuff to stream. I have games that I want to play. We like kind of flipped our schedule around, and I am so excited to share everything that I've been working on for like the past 2 weeks with you guys. But first, I want to say happy freaking New Year to all of you guys. Like, happy New Year. Thank you for literally making 2022 one of the most amazing years ever. Like, I have made so many new friends. I didn't think I would last a year streaming, and here we are 2 years later, almost 1,100 friends later. Like, we're a little bit under 1,100 followers. 1,100 of y'all later, 2 years later, and we're still here. We're still doing the damn thing. Like, it's amazing, and I could not have done it without you guys. I really could not have. I hope all of you know that I appreciate the hell out of y'all, and I want to come back and be like this badass streamer for you guys and be able to do all the things and stay consistent and just just do everything I can. So in the spirit of the new year, new things, I overhauled a bunch of stuff. So like as you can see right here, you can see whatever song is playing now. So you guys don't have to ask me what's playing. I got chat on the screen too. So like chat messages will show up. I did a whole bunch of new channel point stuff. I got rid of the ones that weren't being used. I had to get rid of Snapcam completely, like Snapcam's computer integration. They're doing away with it. Like Heroes sent me a DM yesterday morning and he was like, hey, they're like shutting down Snapcam for PC. At least like working with all the other programs. I think if you have an old version of it, it still works, but future versions aren't going to work anymore. So we still have like the Hi, I'm New Here, the first, the Brain Cell. I saw that on Twitter, wondered if you knew. Yeah, Heroes sent me a DM about it. So unfortunately we won't have some of the fun filters, but I kind of have a workaround for one of them. So thank you for giving me a brain cell, Ace. Thank you. We now have good luck and bad luck. If you want to give good luck, if like I'm doing a challenge and you want to give good luck or bad luck, you could do that. It's only 100 channel points. We still have love the chat and love the mods. So we still have the fun stuff, which I actually need to, let me just make sure everything is loaded up and working, because my dumbass forgot to open Mix It Up before my OBS, so I have to make sure all that's working. We giving out brain cells around here? Possibly. We're playing Devil May Cry for the first time today, so I don't know how many brain cells I'm gonna have with that. But you guys can change my background colors if you want. So if you want like a red background, green background, whatever, I can do that all through changing it on my phone. And you guys can tell me what you want. We still have Hydrate and Words of Wisdom. I know some people that could use some brain cells. Dude, I do too. The Shady Joker needs all of the brain cells. Needs all of them. Also, we still have no cursing, as you guys saw. Ace redeemed that earlier. We still have dad jokes. Dad jokes aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. We have, I need several. The one I've got is struggling. Dude, same. I've been struggling hardcore. Ever since going on winter break for work, I've been really struggling because I'm alone like 99% of the time. And I've been like trying to hang out in Discord with people and, you know, chatting with people offline, but it's still like the physical lack of a presence because Ryan's always at work. So it's just me. And it's tough sometimes. So your girl's been struggling like mentally for the past few weeks. You guys still have a brain cell left? I have one singular brain cell and it is trying its hardest. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, like it's tough. Like, let's see, is that working? Is that working? Is that playing? Please tell me that's playing. I don't see the audio going and I don't know if it played. I hope it played. So yeah. Yeah. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. But Ace, thank you for redeeming Love the Chat. We love the chat here. We love everybody, lurkers, chatters, everyone that stops by here. We love you. We appreciate you. We adore you. What Devil May Cry are we doing? We're doing the first Devil May Cry, Lost in the Realms. We're doing the first one. I've never played Devil May Cry, ever. I've seen gameplay of it, but I've never experienced it myself. I I snagged it on the Steam winter sale. I got Devil May Cry 1 through 4 for like $12. So I was like, oh, bet. We're playing it. We're playing it. Let's see. Same, I understand that. What's a brain cell? It's the singular thing keeping this thing going. Do we see my game being played? Luna! Welcome in, welcome in. If Devil May Cry is your game, then yes it is. Bork, yeah, he is here. He is a menace. I know. Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at him. You are a menace to society, dog. You just want all the attention from... This is his stream. This isn't my stream. This is his stream. Doggo treats? Ooh, I gotta go get their bag. I need to... I said the word. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at that face. I gotta go get their bag. Because they have a new bag of treats. Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Look at him saying pretty. Look at him saying pretty. He's so handsome. He's so handsome. Okay. I got you. Okay, sit. Good boy. And then they get all the treats, all the loves. They get for redeeming doggo treats. They deserve it. You only get one. Stop staring at me. Let's see. We love you too, Mo. Don't worry yet. Everyone loves Mo. It's impossible to not love this dog. Like, he is such a sweetheart. Not me hoping Mo would have jumped in your chair. No. So he's tried that, and then he realized that this isn't carpet anymore. It is hardwood floor, and he slid. So he doesn't do that anymore because he scared the shit out of himself. Are you playing this game release order or lore order? Probably release order. Like, I'm probably gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't know. I don't know anything about Devil May Cry. I just know like the characters' names Dante and Virgil. That is it. That is all I know about Devil May Cry. This will be fun to watch. I am not prepared because, okay, first of all, I have these on, okay? I have these long ass nails on, and I figured out 10 minutes before my stream started, my controller doesn't work with this. It was not connecting. Like, it was connecting to my computer because it would switch my audio source to my wireless controller, but it wasn't connecting to the game. So I have to play this on mouse and keyboard. And I'm not excited at all. I hate mouse and keyboard, especially with these. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have no fucking clue. This is not going to be fun. Been playing the game for 14 years. Oh my, I'm excited to experience it. Poor doggo. Dude, he is a whole mess. You're a whole mess. You are a whole goddamn mess. But it's okay. We love him. We love Stream Puppy. Holy fuck. That don't terrify me at all. Okay, so like I was playing Stardew Valley one day, and I have 12 chickens on my farm now. So I was laying in bed and I was playing Stardew, and I was like, babe, look at all those chickens. And he goes, you look like a chicken with those talons. And he was talking about these. And I'm just like, I don't look like a chicken. That hurt my feelings. But yeah, kind of want you to scratch my back with those. Oh, dude, Mo has been loving, like, he's been loving. Come here, baby. Come here. He's been loving the butt scratches. The butt scratches. He loves it with these nails. He gets mad when I stop. Let's see. Are you gonna get mad at me? Yeah, you're just gonna stand there and protest. Yeah. He loves this. And then I'm in charge after that. And he can stay in charge. Rawr. No, those terrifying nails are getting handcuffed somewhere safe. Please. Hello. But no, these are the last couple days with the nails. I gotta take them off when I go back to work on Wednesday. Um, because we're gonna be working with clay with the kids, and I cannot do clay with these. Like, it'll be impossible to show the kids what to do. My first DMC game was 3. Can't imagine how clunky the first 2 games will be like. Well, so the good thing is, like, I actually like um retro games. Um I don't play a lot of them on stream. Like, the most retro that I've done is like Final Fantasy 6 and 7 on stream. But I actually do love the old games. I don't mind the clunky controls, clunky camera. Um, so we'll see how it goes. This is all like trial period. If I'm not enjoying the game, I'm just gonna switch it up to something different. Um, but we do have like a new schedule type thing going on. So Spotify, hello. Stop glitching, please. Stop it. Um, so our new schedule setup, like, we had fun doing like majority Kingdom Hearts. um, but I kind of want to dive into some new games. There's a lot of new games coming out in 2023 that I really want to play. Like Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom. There's just a bunch of games that I want to play, and I can't do that if I'm playing Kingdom Hearts all the time. So we are now doing Kingdom Hearts on Saturdays. That will always stay. We're going to do our challenge runs. We're going to do normal playthroughs, proud mode runs, all that lovely stuff. Sundays will be Devil May Cry. We're going to see how this goes. Then Mondays will be Final Fantasy 14. I have been playing Final Fantasy 14 offline for like the last week and a half, and I'm in love. I am one of the tiny little Lalafellin people. They're adorable. I love them. So I have 2 game files. I have one off stream that I'm gonna play with friends. Like, if you guys want to play offline, absolutely hit me up. I don't know what the hell I'm doing in that game, but I will play with you guys. And then we're gonna have a stream file. So we're gonna have 2. And then we are finally, after me saying I'm gonna do this for months, starting God of War on Tuesday. God of War, I'm so excited. I've been avoiding all God of War streams because I don't know that game either. All I know is boy. That's about it. So I'm really excited to dive into those games. Let's see. Oh god, no, clay with those nails will sound like a bad time. Absolutely. I've tried clay with nails. It just doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work. I have to use like my knuckle to smooth it out, and it's just no. The story order is 3, 1, anime series, 4, 2, and 5. Okay. Alright. I mean, I'm probably just gonna start like 1 through 4. I don't have 5 yet, but I do have 1 through 4. We don't ever talk about DMC. Devil May Cry. I'm just happy you're a potato in that game. Yes, potato best race. Literally, like, I am tiny little bean. I was playing Friday when Shady was playing on stream. I hopped in just to like follow him around, and I literally come up to like his knee, and it's hilarious. DMC Devil May Cry is a reboot, not part of the game series at all, so no need to play it. Okay. I'm a cat on Final Fantasy 14. That's why we never mention it. Have fun getting confused. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be completely confused. Dad of Boy. Exactly. We're starting Dad of Boy on Tuesday. So I'm like really, really excited to do that. So yeah. Where did I channel points. DMC 3 is the prologue to the entire series. Okay, so it's kind of like the birth by sleep of Devil May Cry. Cool. I will keep that in mind when I'm playing the game. Okay, so I'm gonna go back through new channel points that I added, because some of them I'm like really, really, really excited for. For a a nice 666 points. Don't touch my drum set. You have been warned. Don't touch my drum set. You just that's all I'm gonna say. Don't touch my drum set. Ooh, I need to turn that off, that timer, because we are not doing that anymore. Let's see if it plays. Did it do it? Did it do the thing? I'm sad the sound didn't play. I need to figure out why the sound didn't play, because there's like a whole, hold on, because there's like a whole thing that's supposed to go with it. So don't touch my drum set times you out for 69 seconds. Oh my god, I need to figure out why the sound didn't play. Because it's supposed to, let's see, is it gonna do it now?
Hey, man.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Did you touch my drum set?
Nope.
It's just weird, because seems like someone definitely touched my drum set.
Yeah, that is weird. Because I didn't touch him.
Hey! Did you touch my drum set?
Hey, knock it off!
Hey, man, I know you touched my drumstick. Did you touch my drum set? The left one has a chip in it.
God.
Nope.
You
Fucking crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that?
Seems like
You should
someone
be
definitely
medicated.
touched
Fuck you,
my drum
Brennan.
set. I know you
Yeah, that
touched
is
my
weird.
drum set, and I want to hear
Oh,
that dirty
it's
little mouth admit it.
delayed.
Out of my
It's
face.
delayed.
Did you touch my drum
Roundhouse
set?
your ass.
You
Knock
swear
it
on your
off.
mom's
I know
life
you touched my
that you didn't
drumstick.
touch it then.
I have to swear
The left one.
shit.
That's because you fucking touched my drum set. And I know
Crazy, man.
math doesn't
You
start till 4.
sound insane. Do you realize that?
Okay.
You should be medicated.
Fuck you, Brennan. I know you
Okay.
touched my drum set, and I want to hear that dirty little mouth admit
You
it.
get out of my face, or I'm gonna roundhouse your ass.
You swear on your mom's life that you didn't touch it then.
I don't have to swear to shit.
That's because you fucking touched my drum set. Because I know
I need
math
to
doesn't
change
start till 4.
this. Mod Ailey. Welcome back, Ailey. That is on mods. No, God. Okay. There was a dad joke in there. I need to turn off this timer. Oh my god. Okay. Turn that off. Turn off. Okay. We should be. Here goes the sound. Oh my god. Okay. We love the mods here. Without the mods, we would not be able to do a damn thing. We would not be able to do a damn thing here. I appreciate every single one of my mods. Like, they bust their ass for me, and I don't do nearly enough for them. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. We have anonymous follows on, so feel free to lurk safely. I won't call you out of your lurk. I know social anxiety is a bitch, and I suffer from it too. So if you just want to like chill and lurk, by all means do so. Okay, dad jokes. So the way the dad jokes work, you have to give me a number 1 through 177, and then I will tell you dad joke. I will tell dad joke. If the open, there we go. There we go. Okay, let me catch up after laughing my ass off. I'm so excited to play the new God of War game. Dude, I can't wait to be able to play Ragnarok. I really can't. I'm kind of hoping that after we finish God of War, like the first playthrough, let me turn that back on. I'm kind of hoping that after we finish playing like the God of War game, we can just hop right into Ragnarok. But we'll see. Ace, thank you for words of wisdom. Thank you. I'm attracting joyful experiences into my life. Exactly. Last in the rounds, if you want to give me a number 1 through 177, by all means. If not, we'll just have a random person in chat give a number, and then yeah, we'll do a dad joke. I regret nothing. Beautiful. If you have questions during DMC gameplay about this story, I'm more than welcome to help. Other than that, you're on your own. I'm only here for the lore story info. I want you to enjoy the game that helped me through tough times. I appreciate that, Luna. Yeah, I wanna, like, I've always been this way. I don't like backseating. Like, I want to struggle. I want to be lost in the game, and I want to figure it out myself, because if I wasn't streaming it, I wouldn't have anyone to tell me what to do. So by all means, Luna, be here for the lore and me probably yelling. I think I know this person. Glenn, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing good. So if I touch your drum set, it makes me makes me make you do more work to mod me again. It does. It does. It's fucking great. My brother busting his ass. I don't believe it. Busting his ass to troll people, that I believe. True. Facts. Fucking facts. I think I'm just gonna wait until all the God of War games are on PC. That's fair. 34? 34? Bet. I can do that. Let me pull up my stream deck. 34. Okay. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. We're gonna turn this down. How did Ebenezer Scrooge win the football game? The ghost of Christmas past. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. Don't be mad. Don't yell at me. Oh, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Oh, I understand completely. Backseating takes me off, especially in a game I played already. Oh yeah, okay. It's like, y'all know I love Kingdom Hearts. I had someone try to backseat me when I played Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm like, not trying to be a bitch, but like, I probably know more about this game than you do, so like, let's not backseat. Like, they were trying to tell me how to sail the ship when you're in Port Royal. And I'm like, I clearly, like, I know what to do. I just suck at this. No one knows more about Kingdom Hearts than me. I will admit, there are some areas where, like, I'm not, like, completely proficient, but backseaters beware. Yes, backseaters beware. A-League plays no games. A-League plays no games. Should have told him this looks like a good place to find some ingredients to shutting the hell up. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we went over Don't Touch My Drum Set. On my game screen only, which I should probably put that in the description. We now have Toasty is back. But it will turn me into a PNG tuber of a piece of toast. For 5 minutes. So we kind of have a filter to like circumvent Snapcam. But yeah, we have a little PNG tuber of a piece of bread. So Toasty is back. Toasty is back. We have Beanie Baby, which makes me put on a random beanie that I have. You can tell me which one you want. Then we have Doggo Treats. Of course, you can give the boys treats. They love it. We have Useless Facts. One new one that we have that I hope, I tested it yesterday and it works. I hope it works now. It's called Viewer of the Moment. And if you want, you can get your own like mini little shout out on the screen. You can only redeem it once per stream. And that's to prevent people from coming in and just like spamming it and having their name like posted up the entire stream. So you can only redeem it once per moment, but you could be the viewer of the moment. Your name will be on screen for 5 minutes. And it'll be like right up here. It'll be like right up here. So yeah, it's something like, I want to recognize you guys, because not everybody streams. Not everybody that comes in here are streamers, and they deserve a shout out too, and they deserve it on their own terms. So we get a viewer of the moment. Don't touch that redeem. Good thing it's on your terms. It's on you guys. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfy with, you know, being in here, and like the only shout outs that I really want to do are like the people that I look up to, that I feel deserve the shout out, and the people that rate in, of course, they get shout outs as well. We also have Sing Me a Disney Song. If you want to hear me sing you a Disney song, we have that. I bumped down the price on that, so yeah. We have Mute Strimmer, so you guys can tell me to shut the hell up if I'm talking too much. For a nice little 2,500 points. Once I charge my iPad, we have a thing called Doodlebob. I want to start a community doodle board where you guys can tell me a little thing to draw that'll take like 5 seconds, and we can have this massive doodle board. I would love to like have something with you guys that we all, you know, work on together. You can still make me play Getting Over It for 5 minutes. That's not going anywhere because y'all love to make me suffer. If you just have points and there's nothing up there that you want to redeem, but you want to do something with your points, I have a nice little waste points for 10,000 points. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. You just waste your points. You can also get your custom entrance sound, and then eventually when I get my shit together, I will send out my giant stack of postcards that I have here waiting. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with. I'm gonna send them out eventually. I have 2 that I need to put their addresses on. So if you've been waiting for a postcard, I have it written. I'm lazy. Don't at me. I'm lazy. So yeah, those are all the new channel points. I want to make it a little more interactive for you guys and a little more fun. Let's see. When it comes to Devil May Cry, I have PS2, Xbox, and PS4 versions, plus Dante's Sword and Necklace. Ooh. I want to get more swords. I would love to have like just a giant room of like video game swords. Like I have Oblivion right there. I have Oblivion. But I want to get more. I will at you. I still have your Christmas birthday gift from last year to send you still. See, Saf gets it. Saf gets it. Speaking of birthday. Thursday. There's going to be an extra stream this week. Do you want to tell the story, Mo? He wants to announce it to you guys. Go ahead. We're listening. Good boy. Good boy. Go lay down. Go lay down. Room of Swords, I'm down for that. Yes, Room of Swords. That was awesome, Mo. Yeah, good job, baby. Good job. So there's going to be an extra stream this week. Shady Joker is doing another raid train, a New Year, New Friends raid train, where it's a 3-week raid train. Like, it is massive. And I was lucky enough to snag a spot on my birthday on Thursday. So I will be turning a ripe 29 years old. And 9 o'clock EST, 6 o'clock PST. I will be going live. We will be hopefully playing Beat Saber. I'm hopefully going to have like the mixed reality capture set up. And it's like I'm going to have it all set up right here. And you guys can request songs for me to play. I'm just going to play Beat Saber for 3 hours. I think it's going to be a fun time. If I could get everything to work. We did it a while back over the summer. We did a Beat Saber stream and it seemed like y'all had a lot of fun with that. So yeah, I'm gonna have that. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm just excited to spend my birthday with you guys. I'm probably gonna go live at like 8 p.m. EST just to get like the talking part out of the way. And that way when the raiders come in, they come into straight party time. Instead of just hearing me talk for like an hour. So yeah. Thursday. Keep an eye out for that. Extra stream this week. I'm really excited. I'm really, really, really excited. I can't wait. So yeah, that's all of my, so that's channel points. Went over the schedule. I don't think I have anything else. I think that's it. Y'all want to see some Devil May Cry? Y'all want to, like, y'all ready? Y'all ready for some gameplay? After this song. I love this song. I'm gonna be doing YouTube stuff. I'm gonna be doing YouTube stuff. I forgot to announce that. I have like 10 videos edited, well, almost edited, and ready to go. I want to be more consistent about YouTube this year. I started last year, didn't know what the hell I was doing. Now I've kind of talked with people that are on their way to having, like, they're growing their YouTube channels, and, you know, I've been taking pointers from them. So I'm going to be uploading more YouTube content. So you can check me out there. Same name on YouTube. It's my old picture. I think I need to change that. But there's going to be Kingdom Hearts Challenge, like, edited down VODs. And there's gonna be theory videos. I have 2 theory videos in the works. And then if you have been around for a while, like over a year, you guys know I used to do creative Minecraft builds. I'm continuing that, but it's gonna be on YouTube. I am currently going through and rebuilding the Ocarina of Time map in Minecraft. I've already built the Temple of Time. I've got that recorded. I just got to edit it down and then upload it. I restarted my Hogwarts castle. I didn't like the direction that it was going in, and there was a lot that I would have had to change. So I restarted that, and then I am doing a Kingdom Hearts series of Minecraft builds. So I'm doing Hollow Bastion right now. So those will all be uploading in like the next, if I could get it edited tonight, they're going to be uploaded every Monday. So it's going to be Minecraft Mondays, but over on YouTube. And then there's going to be shorts on Saturdays, and then Thursdays are going to be like just, you know, first playthroughs or other things that are exclusive to YouTube. Like I'm playing through A Plague Tale, and I'm recording that, and that's going to be a separate playthrough exclusive to YouTube only. And I'm excited to play through it. I started it a while back, but I never finished it. So be on the lookout for that. If you are not in the Discord, if you do ! Discord, you can get notifications of when I upload. Or if you just, you know, you get sub to the YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and then you could get all of the content you want. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. And I'm really excited. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I am always open to like feedback, and you know, if you guys want to see something, you guys want to see me play a game, and you want to, like, it's not, maybe not a stream game, but it's a YouTube game, I can absolutely do that. So just let me know. But we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna kick on over to gameplay. Let me make sure everything is on and working over there, because I turned off a lot of stuff while I had while I was recording stuff for YouTube. So I think I need to turn that on. Whoa. Okay, I think I need to... Oh, that sounds loud. Sorry, I'm trying to like fix the audio, but I keep having to like tab out. How does that sound, guys? Bruh, okay, I'm already hyped for the music. Come on, don't glitch on me. Okay. I'm gonna keep it like that. Also, I noticed, guys, this is a big thing. I noticed that when I was recording YouTube stuff, my camera would freeze. If my camera freezes, by all means, please, please, please tell me. Please tell me, because I am not paying attention to my camera. I'm paying attention to my gameplay. So if my camera freezes, like, please don't feel bad about telling me at all. Please don't. The music is good in the DMC games. I'm so excited. Like, I'm hyped for this music. J-Kill, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I love your face. Okay, okay. I'm ready to go. How does the audio sound, guys? Is audio good? Do I need to like lower it or raise it or anything like that before I get like into the game and like sucked in? If I do, please tell me so I can fix that. I'm not gonna get mad. But J Killer, how are you? How was your New Year's with the kiddos? How was your New Year's? Good on my end? Beautiful! Fantastic. And I'm so hyped for some DMC. I'm hyped too. I didn't start anything on Devil May Cry. Why is it asking me if I want to continue? Hello? Game? Oh, okay. Whoa. That's what we're doing. Come on. Hello? Game capture. Game capture, please. Are we gonna... There we go! There we go. Okay. I need to move some stuff around so I can see chat and the game. Ah! Aha! Okay, there we go. There we go! I'm so excited. It was great. We did sparklers and s'mores. That's amazing. Let's go, baby. Okay. I'm stoked. Okay. Okay.
2 millenniums ago, there was a war between the human world and the other, the underworld. But
Dun, dun, dun.
someone from the underworld woke up to justice and stood up against this legion alone. His name was Sparda. Later,
Oh?
he quietly reigned the human world and continued.
How was your New Year? It was good. It was really quiet.
until his
We did a quiet New Year's. Ryan is sick, so he went to bed early, and I just kind of hung out with some people in Discord. So yeah, it was a low key New Year's. It was good though. I had a lot of fun. Hi, mommy. Hello. Who are you, and can you step on me, please? Asking for a friend.
Devil May Cry. Sorry, we closed at 9.
It's Trish. Hi, Trish.
Can't see
Hi.
you.
Now you just busting through my...
Whoa, slow down, babe. Well, what do we have?
Resident DMC waifu.
It's in the back.
Hi.
You must be the handyman who'll take any dirty job. Am I correct?
Almost. I only take special jobs, if you know what I mean.
You're the man who lost a mother and a brother to evil 20 years ago. The son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda, Mr. Dante.
Oh?
Well, the way I figure it, in this business a lot of your kind comes around. And if I kill each one that comes, eventually I should hit the jackpot sooner or later.
In that case, you should be used to this sort of thing.
Impale me, mommy, please.
Are you really the son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda? Didn't your daddy teach you how to use a sword?
She's just... Yeah, yeet, motorcycle.
Even as a child, I had powers.
He's just got the sword like...
What strength?
You were the first one to know about my vengeance. Looks like I'm getting closer.
Hello?
It seems that way.
What is happening?
My name is Trish. I came here to seek your help. To put an end to the underworld.
What?
Trish is a sassy bitch? Ooh. Hello?
20 years ago, Mundus, the Emperor of the Underworld,
Mundus.
was arrested.
Mundus.
Yes, sealed by Sparta, he's attempting to gain control of the human world once again. He's been preparing to open the gate.
Bet, let's fuck him up.
Malay Island.
Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Cool. We just... Medal! Happy New Year, Medal!
Come on, let's go.
Fun fact, DMC was my first Capcom game. Ooh. Bruh, she just like... Yoink. Okay. I don't know how to do anything. What am I supposed to fucking do? Ah! I hate mouse and keyboard. What is this? What is... Whoa. Ooh, Devil May Cry. Yes, I've never played Devil May Cry before. Yellow orb, a sacred stone that brings back life after death. If you end up loving this, you should do 100% run sometime, and the later optional missions are crazy. Ooh. Rip, thank you so much for the lurk. Thank you. She just, like, hopped all the way the fuck up there and left me down here to, like, struggle. Had a good New Year's? Yeah, it was good. It was really low-key. I didn't do a lot. I just kind of chilled. Ooh, Mission 1, Curse of the Bloody Puppets. Break the evil spell and open the cursed door? I did it on Dante Must Die difficulty. Bruh, I don't even know. Oh, okay. Subtitles on controller setup. Bruh, wait. Okay, I'm gonna try to connect my controller. Because if my controller works, I'm gonna be so fucking happy. I'm gonna be so fucking happy. Uno momento, guys. I'm gonna be, like, fucking stoked. I don't know why it's not connecting. Shit. Okay. Nope. No controller. I don't know. I'll figure out the controller thing. We might just have to, like, struggle with mouse and keyboard at the beginning. So yeah. Good. Yes, reminder for those watching. Please don't back our spoilers. Even suggestions to certain achievements, please and thank you. Yes, like, thank you. Well said, Luna. Well said. How the fuck do I go back? Hello? Okay. Let's type B. We gonna fuck around and find out. Okay, that's to jump. Yeah! Okay. Yes, please, like, anybody watching, this is my first playthrough, like, please don't, like, I would appreciate it if you guys don't go, oh, I love this part coming up, like, because if I don't react the way that y'all react, I don't want y'all getting butthurt. Okay, I'm assuming this is, like, the door I have to open. Huh? I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it. Don't touch me. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, I can't wait for you to experience this story. I know. I'm so excited. Okay. Red orb. A red stone used to unlock new skills and doors. To acquire new skills, you must offer the stones to the god of time. What is this? This door is sealed shut. A rusty key may help. Okay, so I need to find a rusty key. Bet. Wait. Yay! Ooh, what's all these things? Ooh, okay. I'm only here for lore and extra help when needed. Drinks coffee? Yes. Okay, I guess I can't go that way. Where's the music coming from? Can I dumble? Whoa! Yo, He jumps like really fucking. I can jump high. Bet. Where does that music come from? Okay, so I might be able to like jump down. It's like jump across the thing. Okay, let's... Ah! Shit. Nope, Dante, get back up there. Get! Oh wait, do I have to... What's that? Ooh, this statue must be the Watcher of Time. This god knows and remembers all of the past. The words of this god are engraved. Those who desire to acquire the ancient ways of war shall offer the blood of monsters in exchange. It's not responding. I'd better unseal the door beneath here first. Okay. Okay. Cool. Get up there. Get up! I can help more on the lore, but it's only been a decade since I've played this. Bet. Okay. Yeet! And I guess we jump down. Okay. Maybe I need to jump across here? Oh, I can't wait for these nails to be taken off. Ah! And I missed. Swing and a miss. Just a heads up, guys, there's gonna be an ad in about 30 seconds, so I will try to, like, not do anything important if y'all are, like, really trying. Whoop! Oh, this is gonna suck. I'm probably gonna be stuck here for the duration of whatever ad plays, so y'all probably won't miss a damn thing.
Welcome to the Outback, motherfucker!
Hello?
Ban!
Excuse me? Why are we banning me? Why are we banning me? Lady Sushi, welcome in. How are you? Okay, I gotta be able to reach that somehow. Somehow, someway. Can I go? Is there like... Oh! Can I go around? Can I go around? Am I having big brain moment? Or am I just like a regular dumbass? Ooh, okay, let's see. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Nope. How the fuck do I get over there? Cause like, I feel like I could probably reach that. But maybe not. Maybe not. I'm gonna figure out this fucking thing. I'm probably gonna spend the entirety of stream here. Because there's no way. There's no fucking way that I can jump all the way across there. But there's a blue thingy over there that I need to get. Looks like I would have made it. Happy New Year, love you. Weezy, I wake up to ban Annie. Why you banning me? Why you banning me? Why? I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. I was saying, what's your safe word when you're stuck on something just to be safe? I'll probably say like, okay, seriously guys, what do I do? Like, if I don't say, okay, seriously, what do I do? It's rhetorical. I'm free from the ad. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so like right now, how the fuck do I get across there? Can I jump from up here? Because I feel like I should be able to. Like, seriously, how do I get across there? No? There's an ad, yeah. Like, do I jump from here or do I jump from, like, across? I think you need air dash. Oh, motherfucker. Then what do I do? That was a rhetorical question. From the floor? Can I jump that? Well, I mean, I guess I figured out I could jump that high. I didn't think I'd be able to jump all the way up there. Maybe from here? I could do this. I could do this. So with jumping, you had to hit the wall? What? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm a certified dumbass. Hi, I'm good. Sorry, I was making coffee. I'm hungover and super sleepy. 3 bottles of wine. I'm getting old, Ozzy. I missed you. I'm doing good. I'm finally not dying anymore. I'm not coughing. I can actually talk and survive a stream. So yeah. Shalane, welcome in. How are you? I love your face. I hope you're doing good. Like, jump the wall to get extra oomph. Oh! That's what I gotta do. But, okay, Dante, do I have to, like, jump here? Ooh. Thank you, Luna. Thank you. Get up there. Get the fuck up there. Don't you dare die. I will come for you. I'm well, thanks yourself. I'm doing good. I'm experiencing this gem of a fucking game for the first time with the clunky ass controls. Dante, get the fuck up there. It's all about timing. Yeah. Nope, that didn't do it. That didn't do it. Can I do it from, like, this end? Can I actually, like... I could do this. I could do this. What about... Nope. It has to be from, like, right here. Also, certain orbs you can't get now. Don't worry too much. The game is always replayable. Why? Okay, I keep hitting that fucking, like... I got it. It's like a child opening presents for the first time when she finds out something new. Literally. Okay, so, like, I am... Ah! I did it! I did it. I'm literally one of the most, like, excitable people in the world. When I get, like, really hyped up, it's, like, big emotions. I'm literally like a child. Like, I am a tiny person stuck in an adult body. I will hunt you in the afterlife. I will try not to die. I will try not to die. Nice. Yes, I'm excited to play this. Shalea, how was your new year? I hope it was good. I hope you had a good time. Did you do anything fun? Yesterday must have been the longest just chatting I've done, and I'm proud of you. Proud of you for doing the damn thing. Okay. It's a statue of a knight who's leaving for war with the divine forces. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. What about right here? Can I examine that? Or do I have to, like, jump down, like, right here? It looks like a statue of a god that the Castellans worshipped. Okay. See, let's go. Now I want to play. Do it. Do it. Okay, so it said I needed a rusty key. But I don't have a rusty key. I don't have a rusty key. I can't open that door that's over there. I played around my birthday month. When's your birthday month? Is there a door on, like, the top floor that I might have missed? Can I just, like, jump up here? I can. Okay. There's nothing down there. Get up there. I just had lots to say, and the wine was very helpful to have no breaks. I played Crash Bandicoot as they clip me confessing that Papu Papu indeed shows ass crack, therefore Lena and Shady were right all along. Beautiful. February? Ooh, exciting, exciting. Okay. What am I missing here? I'm missing something. Samuel! Happy New Year! What is this, dude? I opened the door. I did it, guys. I did it. I did it. I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I am doing well. Why do I feel like these guys are gonna come out? What is that? What is... I feel like these guys are gonna move and attack me. What is that? Hello? You can see the castle's garden from the window. Okay, I guess I gotta go this way. I'm like finger on attack button. Cause I am... If I would have known y'all were hanging out last night, I would have treated you. I was hanging out in another Discord. It's a puppet that resembles the residents of this castle. It's gonna... Oh, it's gonna come up and get me. Oh, hi. Hello. Hello. What is this? Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. I do have anonymous follows on, so you can feel free to lurk safely. And I won't call you out of your lurk. Get up. Get. Yeah, yeet. Get all of the shiny things. All of the shiny things. Also, DMC was supposed to be RE4. Oh, interesting. Interesting. It's shaking and I don't like it. No, it's gonna attack. It's gonna beat me. It's gonna get me. Do it! Ah! You motherfucker. Oh, there's another one. Fuck off. Fuck off. Stop getting up. Stop getting up. Oh, wait, there was another one. You motherfucker. You're gonna get up. You're gonna do it. I knew it. Okay. I love this. I love this. Can I go in here? What is this? It's shaking and I don't like it. Annie 2023. Yes. It's shaking and I don't like it. There are 3 openings to insert something. I just had the most intrusive fucking thought in the world. There's a ladder, but the lid is closed and I can't go through. Okay. You're back! You're back! Ha! Why? What is happening? Why? What is that? What the fuck was that? I know, I feel like you guys are gonna come after me. Okay, rusty key time! You use the rusty key. I don't like the knights that are just standing there. So Dante was supposed to be in the Resident Evil universe, but the creators made an entire story behind him, and DMC was born. That's amazing. These puppets are a nightmare and still is. Ugh, they suck. They suck. I see you dangling there, you little dangly bitch. I see you. I'll say, Annie, you hyped so for Hogwarts. Granted, I've heard PS4 users have to wait till April now. Yeah. Yeah, I am hyped for it. I'm still gonna play it. I mean, without getting into it, like, y'all know what I'm about and everything, so. Oh, there's more! Shoot him? I don't know. How do I shoot? Because that is weapon. That's menu. How do I shoot? Let me do the pew-pews. Let me do pew-pew. I literally don't know how to fucking shoot them. It's not N. M is menu. I is sword. It's not shift. I should probably save. We're just gonna, you know. Will you save here? Yes. We're gonna save here. I mean, I love when things shake, long noodly things. We ain't shaming on Rusty. Taking a bath, let me know if anything happens. Bet. Will do, Luna. Thank you so much for the lurk. Thank you, thank you. I'm not getting into it, but I'm excited for the game. I hope I know how to set up charity stuffies when the time comes. It's super easy. I feel like it's gonna be a nightmare if they come down. How do I fucking, like, how do I shoot? Action? Okay. Weapon? Oh shit, I hit the wrong button. I don't know how to shoot, JK, JK, oh, this is the map. I literally, like, what was that? What, Dante, what are you doing? Oh, you're taunting them? Okay, we're just gonna hit random buttons until something fucking happens. That's jump. That's J. G, F, D. WASD. Menu. I don't fucking know. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna go for it. Can I climb up these? From the looks of things, it hasn't been repaired in a long time. It doesn't look like it's going to fly. Oh, I don't know. Oh. I jumped all the way down. Jump up. Then jump up. Gib. I wonder if I could hit them from up here. Can I, like... Yeah! Okay. What does this do? I don't know what I'm doing. Was I supposed to do that? I don't know if I was supposed to do that. Ah! Probably wasn't! Ah! Okay. Fuck off. Oh, more. Ah! I'm gonna die. I hope you're doing good. Whoa! Fuck off, puppet bitches! Get up! Chin chin! Woo! Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Okay, I'm gonna take like a quick second, like a quick 2-second break because my husband's calling me right now. So I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Pie are more likely to have fruit, I think. Well, you know, you also have chocolate pie and pumpkin pie that they're not really, they're not fruit based. They're just like kind of creamy. So you do have fruit pies, but then you also have key lime pie. Key lime pie is a pie, it's not cake. So I don't think that pies necessarily have to have fruit. Oh, are you active? Bad idea. Bad idea. Oh no! 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 We're not doing this. Okay, sorry. My husband called and I was like, I don't know why you're calling. You're supposed to be at work right now. So I had to answer. I didn't know if anything was wrong. Chinchilla, thank you so much for the 16 months. Thank you. I love your face. How are you? How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's? How was your holiday season? I hope you're doing good. How are you liking the original concept for Resident Evil 4? I'm loving this game so far. I am absolutely loving it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, let me see. What is... So B is to shoot. So B and X. Oh, okay. I need to figure out the aim button. I need to figure out what LB or
Welcome to the Outback, motherfucker!
Hello?
Bam!
Hello? Excuse. But Mr. Matthew, I'm enjoying the hell out of this game. Like, this is so much fun. I've never played Devil May Cry before. And I know nothing about this game series. Absolutely nothing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the story is. This is completely blind. And I'm so excited. No boss yet? No boss yet. You're gonna need to figure out how to shoot and dodge soon. Okay, fun fact, I never dodge in games. I never dodge. Ever. Like, I will get hit. Lady Sushi, thank you for the 7 months. Y'all are just resubbing the hell out of today, and I love it. I love it. Like a license slander, regardless, I love your face, and I'm happy I met you. Thank yous for being you and teaching the gremlin the art of fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out is my favorite game. Not yet lost. Sorry, chat, didn't know she was streaming. Yeah, babe, I was streaming. I love you. Drive safe. I will see you when you get home. Can't wait to see when we get there. I'm robbed. Did my alert not go off? Because I saw it pop up on my activity feed, but did I even turn my alerts back on? I didn't turn my alerts back on. That's why. I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. Don't mind me, guys. Don't mind me. So I can do a thing. I can do a thing. Don't panic. Don't panic. Just don't. Don't panic. For me, dodging is a waste. Yeah, dodging's a waste for me. Okay, so we're gonna... There we go. We got chinchillas. We got chinchillas. Okay, okay. And we got Lay Sushis. If it will play. There we go.
7 months? I call lies and slander. Regardless, I love your face, Annie. I am happy I've met you. Thankies for being you and teaching this gremlin the art of duck around and fond out.
Clappers. Thank you guys for the resubs. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Y'all are my favorite people. You better be streaming in 3 days. What's 3 days? 20, 29, 30. So I won't be streaming the 4th. I will be streaming the 5th though. I won't be streaming on the 4th. Because my new schedule now is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it's 4 days a week. And then because of the raid train, and my birthday on Thursday, I'll be streaming on my birthday. So yeah, I won't be streaming on the 4th, unfortunately. I will be doing last minute setups to make sure that everything's ready for the 5th. I'm loving the peer reaction so far. I'm happy more people are playing these games. I'm so happy to play this game. Like, I've been thinking about playing Devil May Cry for the longest time now, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. I do feel like if no one has done so, chronological order and release order are definitely not the same in the series. Unless you want to know more about the order, I won't say any more about it. Mr. Matthew, they already let me know what the chronological order is. I'm gonna be playing them in release order. I'm gonna be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 once I buy 5. But I do have 1 through 4, so I'm gonna be doing it in that order. Just because it's easiest for my brain to remember. But my raid train slot is tomorrow. Yes, raid train starts tomorrow. Okay, so I need to figure out how to aim. Dante, you're just showing off now. That's that. I need to figure out how to aim. That's not what you want. That's the map. That's fine too. Just want to make sure you wouldn't be confused when you get to the others. Game for the run, we're good. 3 is best, then 1 and 2 kind of sucks. I feel like that's like the normal. Okay, so that's taunting. What the fuck is LB? Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Devil May Cry mouse and keyboard. Devil May Cry keyboard controls. So it says I should be able to attack with... Oh no, that's Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry HD Collection PC keyboard controls. There we go. I didn't look these up before I started the game. I probably should have, but I did not. I attack... Space is right bumper. So it should be space and then... Okay, we're gonna try that. So it should be space. Nope, space. I did it! So space and L. Hell yeah! I did it, guys, I did it. I did it. Go. Are you gonna let me back down? Okay. I did it! Alright, let me back up. You bet your ass I'm gonna make you squishy on the 1 year mark. Quick! He fast as fuck, boy! Woo! Oh, how dare you block? How dare. I did it. I did it. Okay. No, I don't want to go back down there. I just want to collect the thingies. I just want to collect all the things. I did it. I did it, guys. I did it. So it's space L is to shoot. Ha! Oh, I did it! I did the mission! I did the mission! Guys, I did it. I did the thing. I did the thing! Let me catch up on track. You bet your ass I'm gonna make you squishy on the 1 year mark, Annie. How about this? I'll strike you a deal, Lady Sushi. Make me squishy on Thursday. I will allow all squishiness on my birthday. Who reads manuals when starting a game? Right? Who reads manuals? I need to get the HD collection. I had 1 and 2. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. I have anonymous follows on, so you can feel free to lurk safely. I won't call you out of your lurk. You can just vibe and enjoy the content. But if you want to chat, we'd love the chance to get to know you. I need to get the HD collection. I had 1 and 2 when I was younger. I had to rent 3, and I finally got 4 and played it October 2021. I need to play 5 yet. Yeah, this is completely blind first playthrough. Never done anything. Never, I don't know shit. Now you can extend combos with your guns. Let's go! I always read game manuals before starting a game. I miss manuals and whatnot in the game case. I love, I gotta see. Whoops. Ooh, yes. Save. Yes. I do miss game manuals. Next mission! Let's go! I do miss, like, reading the inside of, the game manuals and, like, seeing all of the backstory and, like, the things that connect, characters to one another. I do miss that. I do miss that aspect. Mission 2, Judge of Death. Open the door of the cathedral. Power up? Like a power up? Let's go! You don't have enough red orbs. Oh, I don't have shit. I don't have shit. But let's just see. What can I do? What can I do? Okay, Devil Star. A crystal with magical powers. It recovers 5 Devil Trigger gauges. Vital Star. Rare stone that revitalizes energy. Holy Water. Water of Divine Blessings. It holds power to eliminate all the evil that's around you. Okay. Untouchable. Untouchable. A shield will surround the body, protecting you from an attack for a certain period. You will also be in a Devil Trigger state during this period. Blue orb, purple orb. Oh, okay. Exit. So, let's go. What's this? It's a landscape painting. There's an eerie aura that surrounds it. No shit. Question, do you want to know about the orb system? Not yet. Not yet. If I get confused... If I get lost, I'll ask. How dare you block me? Stab. Give me orbs. Give orbs. Give orbs. I like the little stab. Gotta go hop in the shower now and have fun with the EMC. It's such an amazing series. I'm excited. Motherfucker. No! I don't like mannequins. No, no, no! Stop! Stop! Woo! Oh, he threw his shit at me! Fuck you! Why do I feel like this is the hall that never ends? Stop it, stop it, stop it. Stop, 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 stop. Oh, they're gonna keep coming. They're just gonna keep coming, aren't they? We're just gonna run for a second. We were gonna run because I feel like they were just gonna keep spawning. I kind of felt like they weren't gonna end. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, no worries, J Killer. We'll probably still be here for a little bit. Who's in here? There are lists of crops that were harvested from the feudatory. Strangely, the amount of crops harvested were never stable. And there were instances where winter crops were harvested in the summer. Ooh, can I jump up there? It looks like I could jump up there. Right there. Ha-ha! What's this? A Grim Reaper-like devil is depicted. A key is embedded. Should I take it? Not right now. Not right now. We're gonna take the key later because I feel like I'm probably gonna die if I do. I feel like that's a safe assumption. There are books relating to black magic and rituals from all parts of the world. Whatever. Okay. What's down here? I feel like that's a thing that's gonna... it's gonna, like, come up if I take the key. So we're gonna do it! Rusty key! Can I, like, smash? No. Is that right? Is there something up here? No. Okay. Okay. Back down the hall we go. It's a sculpture of a female in agony with a sword pierced through her chest. Wait, I can hear a voice. I am Alastor. The weak shall give their heart and swear their eternal loyalty to me. What the fuck? What is that mean? Bruh! It's a carving of the Judge of Death. It looks like the judge should be holding something. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna fuck these bitches up in this hallway. No! Fuck you! And you're dodging bullshit. What's in here? Oh! Okay, I don't want to go in here just yet. There was another door that I wanted to go through. This is the very beginning. The... Fuck up. Oh, there's more of you motherfuckers. Easy! What the fuck is that noise? Oh! Stinger level 1 with lightning speed plunges sword into enemies. I barely don't have enough red orbs. Okay. So this is kind of like a safe room. You found a new toy? I did. I found a new toy and it's shiny and it goes zap zap. Just saw her, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing good. How was your new year? Okay, we're... Fuck off! No! No! Not again! Not again! No, 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 no! Oh, he's zooming! No, no, no! No, 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 no! Give help! Give help! Woo! No! Stop that! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! I'm going in here. Go ham on it, love. Once you finish, you'd be a pro at this. I'm gonna go ham. I'm alright, thanks. What about you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm experiencing this glorious fucking game for the first time. I love this so much. Like, this might be one of my new favorite games so far. And I know I just started playing, but like, holy shit. Am in love. Come on. Come on. Hit, hit, yeah. No, 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 no. Are there more? Oh, there's more. You guys came out of nowhere. Ooh. Eat my ass, puppets! I need to figure out what can I do, because I feel like these are just going to keep on spawning. I can't do that. Or I can confront the lion. I'll need a sign. Okay. You don't touch me. Don't touch me either. This is my square. This is my square. Don't touch me. Oh, I did it. I did it. Okay. Woo! Let me know when the next devil meeting is. We're gonna do this every Sunday. Devil May Cry is gonna be our Sunday stream for a while. Okay. Can I go up here? Ooh, is this a little door? There is an engraving of a lion with something written. Only those who the lion has accepted can set me free. Okay. King! Hi, King! How are you? I hope you're doing good. How goes Dante May Cry? It's fantastic. I am in love with this game so far. I like games that, like, you dive right in. There's not, like, you get the story along the way. Instead of, like, giving you all of the story at the beginning and then it's just like, figure it out and, like, you'll get all the action later. Waking up with a killer headache. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Drink lots of water. Make sure you like eat a lot of protein and good foods to keep you healthy and happy. And hopefully that headache will go away. If it doesn't, I have a fix for it. I used to do this in high school where I would take like a frozen bag of veggies and I would put it on the back of my neck and then I would take my hands and feet and stick them in hot water. And that kind of like helps the blood flow from your head to your extremities. Sorry, hubby just came home and Mo's going crazy. And back, what did I miss? I got Alistor. And the fucking cutscene was amazing. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I died. I thought I fucked up. But then I got the nice little zappy blade and I went, ha 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 ha. No, you could stay down there. Is a statue of an angel the guardian of a god? What? What's in here? New Year's had me and my wife drinking for a couple of days. Oh, Step. Oh, there's a bunch of you guys. Oh no. There was a bunch of them. Oh. Okay. I can't go back through there. So I gotta just keep going forward. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Swimming. There's something written that God stands before thee. To open the path, use thy strength to drive it back. What's this? You planning to play the whole series? Yup. I want to play the whole series. I'm hoping that I like keep enjoying the game as I've been, and yeah, I would love to play the whole series. There's something written that God stands before thee to open the path. Use this thing. Oh, okay. Should I have gone down here? Staff of Judgment? Oh, Is this what's supposed to go in the God of Death's hands? I feel like there was something I missed. Oh! Oh! Can I go back? I missed something at the end of the hallway. I need to go back. Why? For why? For why? Why are there more than one? Ah! Fuck up! Ah! Okay. No. Fuck off. Fuck all the way off. Oh no, not the curse Moogle, not the curse Moogle. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, thank you so much for the follow-up, but we got a curse Moogle in chat. Oh my god. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Thank you. We do have anonymous follows on, so you can feel free to lurk safely. I will not call you out of your lurk. Like, you can enjoy the content, you can relax. If you want to chat, we would love the chance to get to know you, though. So, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Okay. I'm gonna go back to that hallway. Because I feel like I missed something. Hello? No, go away. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Ah, here! Oh, no, no, no! I thought I was safe. I thought I was safe. I thought I was safe. Woo! Yeah. I thought I was safe. Okay. Ah, so many! Why are there so many of you? Why are you like this? Wait, wait! Ah! Glitch! I was so confused. What is this? There's something engraved beneath the opening. This is where the guiding souls gather. Okay. Okay then. So it wasn't anything like super important right now. So it's been a long time since I played this, especially. Nope. Fuck off, guys. Fuck off. Go away. Nope. No. Especially learning the RE4 thing in that time. I see so many RE aspects as you're playing. I do too. So like I've seen a lot of Resident Evil. I've seen a lot of Resident Evil gameplay. It is one of my favorite series to like watch and lurk in. So I do see a lot of like Resident Evil aspects. I feel like this is probably as close to Resident Evil as I'll get. I don't know if I'll actually play Resident Evil games. We'll see. I tried 7 and my anxiety, the way my anxiety is set up, it's just not a good time. It was just not a good time. Time to have coffee. Beautiful, beautiful. James, welcome in, James. How are you? Okay, okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. 19% Lady Sushi. Those are rookie numbers. You need to bump those numbers up.
Welcome to the Outback, motherfucker! Bam!
Don't ban the goose. Not the goose. Not mad at me anymore. Okay. So like, I get super annoyed when people play sound alerts like over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. And it's like sensory overload after a while. So like, I get super, super annoyed with it real fast. Same, yeah, it like, back when Shady had like 1,000,001 sound alerts, I had to like mute the beginning of his stream. Because it would just send me into just an overloaded state. And I get so, like, agitated. And it just sets everything off. I need this whole year to get my multiple 100%. Okay, boop. Next mission! Destroyer of Ardor? Overcome the trial and acquire the Pride of the Lion. Ooh. Okay, what can we do with Alistor? It looks like that's the only thing that we could do. I turned off sounds. I only have my streaming go, but that's a test one to make sure my bot works. I love it. I love it. I used to have a lot of sounds. I turned a lot of them off. Just for that reason. Ooh, 27%. James, we gotta bump those numbers up. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. I have 3 sounds. Yeah, I have a couple. I don't... Why are the tree things wiggling? Why are they wiggling? Why? Okay, first time ever doing that. So proud I was higher than Sushi. The Pride of Lion is granted only to those who choose the path of the trials. I mean, we all know this issue as well. You're playing a game you've built so long and far to that intense ending. You beat the boss. Cutscene plays. Bam. Sound spam. No, never gonna happen again. Yeah. That's why emote only mode exists. That way, like, you know, mods and VIPs more or less know better than to like play. Like, this is a big thing. I see this in a lot of streamers' channels. Like, some people pick the most inopportune times to play sounds. Like, if a streamer is having a serious chat, like, wait till they're done chatting to play your sound. Like, if they're having a big moment in the stream, like, don't play a sound. Don't play a Streamloots card. Don't think about, like, the moment. There's, like, time and place for everything, right? Especially because a lot of streamers now are getting into the YouTube game, and we're taking our VODs and we're editing them down, and those big moments that you have are now ruined because the sound alert. So, like, for example, I love him to death. Curb. I love Curb. But I was going through his clips for Friendo Year Endo because I was helping Prez out, and the the part with Aerith, if you are familiar with Final Fantasy VII, somebody played like the little confetti cannon and went, yay! Right at that serious spot. And it's like, you know, while yes, that is funny in the moment, if you go to edit that VOD down, you can't use that part. Like, you have to cut the sound out. So it's like there's a time and place for everything, and like people gotta think, okay, when is the right time to play my sound? When is the right time to do this alert? When is the right time to do that? Like, you know, just be a little more aware. Oh no, not the loots, James, not the loots. Sometimes you just gotta get your wiggle on. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Bow, 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 bow. Oh my god. Oh no.
Papanuggy James says one has to go. Which one? Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Why are you doing this to me? I gotta think about this, because, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 is staying. Kingdom Hearts 2, top fucking notch game. That is absolutely staying. With Kingdom Hearts 1, the controls are so clunky. Like, it's so clunky. I can handle it, but, like, the controls are clunky. But Kingdom Hearts 3 has way too many goddamn cutscenes. Like, I felt like I was watching a movie half the time. I'm gonna say Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 has to go. Out of those three, Kingdom Hearts 3. It was my least favorite out of the original trio. Birth by Sleep legit got ruined for me. It was so good because Terranort was legit first try, and then this ass played Coffin Dance. Yeah. It sucks. Like, you want to have the interactive stuff for your viewers to make your stream fun, but, like, sometimes it gets ruined. But my amazing friend is doing well. Hope you have an amazing 2023 Samuel. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Like, this is a fantastic game. This is why my alerts are bits and channel points. Yeah. I don't know. Because, like, not everybody can do bits. And not everybody can be in every stream. So, like, I feel like I don't want to restrict people in that sense. But, like, sometimes you gotta. You remember, you know who that one Parasite was talking about? My deceased grandmama. He plays Happy Birthday. Like, wow. You've been there the whole time. You know what I'm talking about? You do that? Ridiculous. Because chaos? Oh my god. I can't wait. Cross fingers me. Maybe tech upgrade in March? Clappies. Clappies. I only try to play sounds in not serious modes. Yeah, see, that's like the best way. Like, you know, just play sounds when, like, if there's a fight going on. Like, play it at the beginning of the fight. Don't play it, like, towards the end of the fight. Play it at the beginning. Or if they're just, like, wandering around in the game, like, just play it then.
Welcome to the Outback, motherfucker!
Excuse?
Banned!
Excuse? Hello? Why are we banning me? Why? Some alerts are free, but I can't stand the spamming of sounds. It hurts my ears a lot. Yeah. Like I said, it sends me into, like, a sensory overload, agitated state. Like, you'll see really, really quick when somebody is spamming sounds, like, you'll see me get mad real fast. Or when you ban Annie, no, don't ban me. The TurboTax ad had a really cute lady in it at the beginning. It's a lovable ban. Oh my god. Alright, let's get into these trials. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh, they only wiggle when I walk.
Papanuggy James asks, what movie has made you cry?
Marley and Me. I can't handle when dogs are hurt. I severely freak out. Like, I cry because my dogs are my babies, So Marley and Me. It made me cry. Hello? I'm outside. What's this? What you said about sound time on start screens, why I kept showing up an hour in the stream. All you see me do is flipping arson. Yeah, I like the sound, or not sounds, but I like the commands that like don't have sounds to them, but are still fun. What is this? What is this? It states, "Go back the path, and thou shalt return from the abyss with thy lion heart, and thou shalt receive the pride of lion." Feels like a boss fight, right? I said this in Dark Souls. Any ominous bridge that you have to run across, bet your ass is gonna be a difficult fight. Fuck Marley and Me, I'll never watch that movie ever again. I only caught the last 20 minutes of it, and I didn't know what I was watching. I just saw cute dogs, so I was like, I'm gonna keep watching. And then, bam, end scene, and I'm like, traumatized. Traumatized. Just got home from work and I'm feeling a bit under the weather, mostly from outside summer, so I'm resting as much as I can today. Samuel, get as much rest as you need. Get all of the rest. All of it. Like, take care of yourself for sure. We love you. We want you to be happy and healthy. There's an entire scene in Butterfly Effect that I can't watch. See, I'm okay with, like, gory scenes. I'm okay with people, like, getting completely, like, obliterated and, like, chopped into a million pieces. I watched Human Centipede, no problem. But, like, animals getting hurt, I can't do it. I can't do it. Ooh, 16%? 7%? 1%? Oh my god. Oh my god. Shall I put a reminder in chat for new people coming in about spoilers and such, if that's okay with you, or leave things be? Luna, if you do !BS, I have an alert for that. And I also have it as a timer. It goes off every now and then. But !BS will give you, like, the no backseating command. Down 1%, Sushi. That's rough. That is rough. Fox and the Hound. Ooh, Fox and the Hound. Yeah, that one's a sad one. Okay, okay. Go back the way I came. Going back. What the fuck? Hello? Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't breathe underwater. Oh my god. 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 Hello? 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 Oh shit. Woo! I just panicked. I just fucking panicked. I panicked. Oh my god. Fucking shit. 32%? Okay, okay. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. 61. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Damn, I was hoping for a boss. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a boss sometime soon. The sign of the strong allows confrontation with the lion gatekeeper. Yeah, see? It allows confrontation with the lion gatekeeper. Ooh, J Killer, 1%. No. Spider! Fucking can't. Ouch, bot. Fuck you. I hate spiders. Woo! Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Ah! Face me, you ugly bitch. Ah! We're gonna play it safe. Okay. I just ah! No! I'm gonna die. It's gonna fucking kill me. Yep, I'm gonna fucking die. I died. I died. Oh, yellow orbs are lives? Ooh. Oh. Okay. No, not the bad luck. Not the bad luck. Oh no. Amulet. Oh, okay. Would you like a tip? Let me try. Ooh. Is it gonna give me enemies? Like about. Oh. Okay. This is one of the servants of the Dark Emperor. Inside its exoskeleton, there's hot molten lava. Not only is the shell hard, but it also protects it from magical attacks as well. It uses its mouth to release its magical powers. This opening is the only vulnerable part of the monster. It can summon the dead by sticking its head into the ground, and the dead will awaken in the shape of fire pillars. The fire pillars strike from the places where the ground lights up. Run and jump to avoid this attack. It can charge its evil powers and unleash the spires of evil through its mouth. Rolling seems to work well in avoiding this attack. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try to fight it a couple of times. If I struggle after a couple of times, absolutely I will ask for help. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I kind of have to pee after drinking, you know, half of this. So I'm gonna throw up the BRB screen. Don't go anywhere. Don't stay right there. I will be right back. I promise, guys. I promise. So let me go pee for like 2 seconds. I'm gonna zoom. I'll be right back. Bye. It's gotta slow. Oh my god. Oh fuck. It went straight over my head. Oh god damn. Hi Digger. Hi Digger. Oh fucking hell. Her arm. It's a memorial for my dad who passed away to cancer 6 years ago. It's definitely up there in one of my top favorites. The quote up here, it says, "The ones that love us never really leave us." And then my other one, I have a sternum tattoo. It starts like right down here and then goes all the way up to here, so you can like kind of. But key. Oh. Fall damage is a thing in here. Did not know that. I symbol something, but I keep secrets. I appreciate the secret keeping. Like, how? There's no oil. There's nothing underneath it. There's nothing on top for it to be on fire. God, fuck, that scared me. And I want to feel a rush? Not necessarily, because I feel like that's a bad thing to feel a rush. What the fuck was that? Wait. Wait. What just happened? Wait. What was that? So I told her that was something I wanted to get into, especially with my health issues. That would help out a lot if I started heavy lifting weights. Oh, fuck! No! Okay, I is back. Okay, and game is up. Game is playing. Woo! Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save. Just in case. Welcome back. Welcome, butt spot, please. Alright. Let's go. Oh, I meant to click on the game. Okay, there we go. No! Woo! Ah! Oh! You bitch! Whoa. How? Do I not have any more? I'm gonna die again, guys. No. Why are you walking sideways? Stop that. No! No! I can't see him. Fuck. Alright, we're gonna do one more time. Okay. Ah! I couldn't see him. I need to keep him in my sights at all times. Ah! Why are you like this? no, 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 no. He's stuck. Ah, no. No! Ah, you touched me. I didn't want that. I don't like it. 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 No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Stop, camera. Camera, I can't see. Woo! I'm probably gonna die this round anyway, so. Yep. God damn it. Alright. J Kill, are you still here? If you are still here, what is your tip? What is your tip for this fight? Because I done died 3 times. You can jump on his back when his tail is up and use your sword. Oh. Okay. See, I didn't know that that was a thing. So we're gonna try it out. I'm probably gonna die. But it's okay. It bypasses the fireballs and you only have to worry about the pillars. Alright! Ah! Okay. Oh shit, I did not dodge that. Ah! Stop jumping, you bitch! Come here. Ooh. Okay, Smokey! Welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Okay, I have to figure out how to, like, successfully jump onto his body. Okay. Ooh, rude. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna die. Okay, I made progress. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing? How's your day going? How's stream going? Stream's going great. Stream's going great. We're playing Devil May Cry for the first time. This game is kicking my ass right now in a little boss fight. Sure. I saved right in front of the pillar thingy. So I should be good, right? Theoretically. Oh, it's gonna make me do the whole thing over again. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it wasn't that big of a fucking deal anyways. But we're playing Devil May Cry for the first time, and I am loving this game. Like, absolutely loving it. We're gonna speed run. Speed run, speed, speed, speed. Well, you had it. Yeah, I felt like I was on the right track. I kind of had it. So it's okay. It's okay. We can totally, you could totally get it. You could totally get it. You'll get the hang of things little by little. It took me a while as well. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't do mouse and keyboard. So I feel like this would be a lot easier if I could use my controller. Which I'll figure out why I can't use my controller after stream. So that's not that big of a deal. I'm kind of nervous about tomorrow, but it's a good kind of nervous. Ooh, what's tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Okay. Running, 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 running. Oh no, 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 I wanted the health thing. This game doesn't translate well to mouse and keyboard. Yeah, I could tell it doesn't. That's okay. We'll figure it out. I played the first 3 DMC games. I eventually want to play the others. Yeah, this is my first one. So I'm like really, really excited. I'm getting a Cars events a few weeks ago, totaled out my last one. Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me that you got the car. Oh, I can't see. Oh, I can't see. Ah, I missed. Okay, I really need to figure out how to dodge. Oh. Oh. He done fucked me up. He done fucked me up. Alright. Shit. Ugh. Get back here. Get back here. Woo! Okay, okay, okay. And this guy is supposed to be the easy boss. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I feel like if I wasn't on mouse and keyboard, it would be a lot easier. Because I feel like I could control where I'm jumping a lot easier, like a lot better. But it's really hard when you have like WASD, that's all you have. And it's not like the most accurate. No! Stop it. Ooh. Oh, how am I not dead? Yeah, controller is best. Yeah. See, I'm getting there. I'm getting the hang of it. But I definitely feel like I need to figure out my controller thing and why it wasn't connecting. I need to see if it'll connect to other games. And if it's like a controller thing, is it a wire thing? Do I just need to get a new wire? Woo! Get up there! Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Come here, stop running. Why are you running? Why are you running, ho? Oh, fuck. Shit! There we go. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You are dead. Almost, yeah. I got it this time around. I got it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. This is fine. Do I have anything to power up? Nothing there. Well, you know what? You can never have too many yellow orbs. You can never have too many. Oh, get the blue one? Whoops. Oh, well. Oh, well. We'll just... It's okay. It's okay. I don't know why this game feels like it's a Soulsborne-esque game. I mean, I can see it. This is okay. This is fine. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. We do have anonymous follows on, so you can feel free to lurk safely, and I won't call you out. But if you want to get the, you know, if you want to chat, and we'd love the chance to get to know you. It's a bunch of cool people in here. But thank you so much for the follow. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Third time's a charm, right, guys? Right? Right? That's how that works. At least I know, like, I don't have to do a shit ton of stuff to get back to that boss. Yeah, time 100. Yep. Yep. Jacular, thank you for the good luck. Thank you, thank you. Alright, let's do this! Let me not forget the health next time. Ah! Ugh! Okay, there we go. I just taunted him. Okay, grab the health. There we go. Okay. Okay. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Alright, guys. Before I touch this little Pride of the Lion mark, I love you all. I'm gonna ignore the shit out of you guys so I can fuck this spider up. I love you all. Mwah! Fuck, 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 fuck. Stop taunting him! I didn't mean to do that, but you know what? I'll take it. Oh, fuck. Fuck that spider up. That one was a wonky fucking round. Like, that one was weird. It started out weird. This is okay. Shit, I didn't want that. Woo. Time that one wrong. Fuck, 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 fuck. Ah! Fuck off! Dude. Good. I got trapped in the corner. I got trapped in the corner, chat. Alright, this is it. This is the run. This is the run. Motherfucker, this might not be the run, guys. Nope, nope. I got stuck. I got stuck in the corner. Okay. I gotta focus. I gotta stop dicking around. I gotta focus. shit. No! Ugh. Last one. Last one. I can do this. I can do this. Nobody but baby in the corner. You son of a bitch. Get me out of the corner! No, 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 no. Shit. No! 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 Ah! This is okay. This is okay. Okay, so wait, you said get the blue crystal? Or blue orb? I got the blue one. Okay. Blue orb expands your health. Oh. So wait, is it like Oh, what did I just do? What did I just do? Why did I... Wait. That was probably... I misclicked a button. I don't think I was supposed to do that. I meant to hit M and I hit N and I don't know what I just did. Nope. Beautiful. You just used Devil Trigger? Okay. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, these fucking nails have got to go if I'm gonna do mouse and keyboard. These nails have got to go. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Because I almost beat the shit out of the boss without using it. So, oops, shit, my bad. No, you're good. You're good. That's okay. I had a feeling that's what that was, but I was just like... So Devil Trigger helps you heal for a time? Oh. Good to know. Good to know. And at least now I know what button triggers it. Because I would have gone through this whole goddamn game not even pressing the button. Alright. Ah! Boop. Yes, but be very careful on how you use it. Okay. Okay. This is fine. Yeah. Most fights you don't need it, so safe for bosses. Yeah, I'm kind of likening it to like anti-form in Kingdom Hearts. Just stay on his back! Get me out of the corner! Okay. What the fuck? Okay. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. We're okay. No, wait. Here. L, L, then M. Shit. No. This is some bullshit. This is bullshit. It's like I jump on his back and it like glitches and slides me off of his back, which is annoying. What the fuck? I'm surprised they haven't switched to baby mode yet. I might need baby mode. Who knows? I'm about to just say fuck it, and I'm gonna use the devil mode trigger thing and see how that does. Because if I could do more damage, haven't used it yet, why not? Ooh! I'm stuck in the fucking corner. I can't. Ah! Okay. Okay. I'm getting a little frustrated. So, when that happens, we just, you know, we take a breather. And then we revisit this. But I'm loving this game, honestly. I think I will have a better time if I figure out how to get my controller to work. Because what's messing me up is I don't have, oh shit, hold on. I don't have control over where Dante is jumping exactly, because, you know, you only have WASD, so he only moves up, down, left, or right. He doesn't move in all, like, areas, so I can't control it as well. So I definitely think I need to figure out how to get controller to work. And I'll have an easier time with that boss. Because I got the strat down, it's just Dante not landing where I need him to land. So yeah. But I love this game. I'm going to continue this absolutely. Like, it's a fantastic game. And yes. Yes, Paper Moon. I love Paper Moon. It's such a good song. So with that being said, I know exactly where we're going today. Let me actually close that out. I know exactly where we are going today. So as you guys know, we were nominated for Streamer of the Year in the Friendo Year Endo Awards ceremony, and that is going on right now. They are about 2 hours into the stream. So we are going to send a lovely, lovely raid over to Prez of the Castle, and we're gonna hang out and watch the awards show. So we'll do this, raid Prez of the Castle, and we have a raid message if you are sub to the channel and if you are not sub to the channel. So do me a favor, copy and paste that raid message so we can put it in his chat. And I have this little thing with all the people. Oh, it didn't refresh. Hold on. I need to refresh this because there's new people. There's new peoples. I did credits now, so like you guys can get acknowledged at the end of the stream. So I thought that was like a really cool thing that, you know, we could do. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It was fantastic. I definitely love this game. And I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you. We will be back tomorrow with some Final Fantasy XIV for the first time on stream. I've already created my character. I just haven't done anything in game. And if you play Final Fantasy XIV, you are more than welcome to come and join me in on the server. I am okay with that. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be live again. Let's go show Prez and Shady all of the love in the world. They are doing Best Art Streamer. That is the category they are on now. So, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.